Welcome back to the show, Talk Back Live with Bob.
And John.
And we got Philip Dean and Brian Heater. We're all around it. Hey, boy, and I feel good. Oh, yeah. Hey, I feel good today, y'all. Hey, we got... But look, hey, it's good. It's always good to feel good.
I feel great.
Yeah. I don't know.
We always feel great.
I don't know if he's saying that part, I feel great.
But I feel great, though. I feel great every time we're here at Talk Back Live, Bob. You shouldn't be feeling good. You should be feeling great.
I do.
It's like what I tell you every day. Treat like every day it's the Super Bowl, Bob.
Yes, indeed. It is a Super Bowl around the table here.
Or the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
Either one is all right with me. I tell you what, let's go down to our guy, Peter Lancaster. Our man out of Birmingham, Alabama, WTVM TV, Peter Lancaster. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, greetings from Birmingham, gentlemen. What is going on?
All right, man. Hey, it couldn't get no better, I don't think. Pretty good day on the outside, inside, and we all feel good. And so you heard that last spot, though, didn't you?
I heard that little James Brown, man. That was nice.
Hey, Pete,
go ahead, Josh. I got to ask you, kind of tell us a little bit about the Pick Six sports show, the blog website that you got going on.
Yeah, man. I have been working on this for a while now, and, I've had my NBA blog site there at the beginning of this season, and now I've combined football with college football, NFL, college basketball, and now NBA all on one site. So I kind of put all my blogs in one spot, and man, we're off and running. We started 2 Saturdays ago, and man, we're up and running. Man, we have a new blog every week. Got a couple guys to contribute with me, and right now I'm focusing in on NBA. These last precious days of the season, I'm trying to get in as many NBA blogs as possible, man. But it's a lot of fun, and we'll soon have video and video blogs on the site too.
Awesome. And speaking of that, one of the things that caught my attention, reading that was your thoughts on the Clippers-Celtics situation, which now seems to have fallen through. Even according to Danny Ainge, who came out and said that the Celtics general manager. But what are your thoughts on that whole deal that was possible that could have happened? And should the Celtics have done the deal? Should the Clippers have done the deal?
Oh, yeah. Well, Saturday I'm sitting there watching TV, and Twitter just blows up.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on? And Celtics and Clippers were in all the trades. And, the rumor then was Doc Rivers and Garnett being sent to L.A. for DeAndre Jordan, draft picks, and possibly Eric Bledsoe. And as the day ended on Saturday, it was, Bledsoe, they were trying to keep Bledsoe out of the deal. So, it kind of, ended talks, as the Saturday. And then Sunday, nothing happened. And yesterday, the talks started to heat up. But then it was, Boston wanted multiple picks in return, pretty much 2 picks in return for Doc Rivers to free him from his contract with the Celtics. So, the blog I wrote was, it's time for Boston to accept that this year was a swan song for that current team. And, the Celtics historically have held on to their veterans for so long that they lose their trade value on the market. Now Kevin Garnett is, DeAndre Jordan's not a better player than Kevin Garnett. There's no denying that.
No doubt.
But DeAndre Jordan is the bigger asset for the future. And that's what you got to look at. And the Celtics are one of those teams really close to the salary cap. And granted, Garnett for Jordan is basically a salary swap. They basically make about the same money. Garnett makes a little bit more. But Jordan only has 2 years left of his contract. So if it doesn't work out with him next year, he's a tradable commodity because he only has 1 year left in his contract. So he'll be a lot easier to move. Now, if Jordan's contract was, had 4 or 5 more years on it, then this deal, probably would never have been discussed. But, now all the reports you hear today that the deal is done. I just hate that for Boston because I don't know if they'll find equal value for Garnett that they could have gotten in Jordan.
Now, Are you surprised, Peter? Because to me, I was very surprised because it sounds like the Clippers were the team that called off the deal. To me,
Right.
because the Celtics wanted another first-round pick from the way it sounds. So, are you surprised they called it off? Because it seems like this was a move for right now. So why would they be worried about a first-round pick that will most likely be a late pick because of how good the team would be?
Right, and also this trade was done in part to retain Chris Paul's services.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were overwhelmed with how much money they're going to pay Doc Rivers, and then they probably interviewed some of the other coaches. They realized, well, we might save a little bit of money here. Because, when I heard all this talk going on of Rivers going over to the Clippers, I was shocked because we all know the Clippers to be penny pinchers.
Cheap.
Right?
Yeah.
Not cheap, but, why pay a coach $7 when we could pay someone like Brian Shaw or Coach Hollins $3 or $4 million?
Yeah.
So I think that kind of weighed on that. But yeah, the draft picks, what does that matter? If you're one of the top teams in the league, you're going to be picking late in the first round anyways. And as we've seen the last 3 or 4 years, yeah, there's been some good serviceable players. There hasn't been any like true blue starters in the later picks of the first round in the last 2 or 3 years.
And one of the things too with this trade not going through, it almost seems odd. I'm not saying automatic, but it puts into question, I should say, whether Chris Paul will return or not. Because you talk about the roster he would have coming in. It would be no doubt that he would have stayed. But now, it's right back in question, no matter who they get as a coach. To me,
I think
Yeah, and the other thing, too, about that, I don't know if y'all heard or not, but, of course, it was totally rumored, and it got shot down pretty quickly, but did y'all hear about them possibly packaging Bledsoe and Griffin to the Lakers for Dwight Howard?
Yeah. Which was, I don't know if that was real or not. I know there's, dreaming going on in L.A.
Oh, yeah.
But, Phil, about what you got?
Well, I think Chris Paul's staying in the Clippers because I think they're going to get Brian Scott as their next head coach, and that's Chris Paul's boy back from New Orleans, and they worked very well together. And I think if they bring – because I'm sure Chris Paul is telling Donald Sterling, if you want me around, you need to hire Byron Scott right now. Or if not, get
Make
Brian.
that trade or –
Yeah. So I really think he's going to be the guy that's going to be taking that Clippers job right now, in my opinion.
Well, that was kind of the downfall of Chris Paul's time in New Orleans was when they let Coach Scott go. That kind of turned him sour. And then I don't know if y'all remember they didn't re-sign David West, and they traded away Tyson Chandler. That kind of started his unhappiness and uneasiness there with the Hornets in New Orleans.
Most definitely. So, kind of coming back on the home front here with the Memphis Grizzlies and, interviewing George Karl, I believe it was yesterday or either today. Today. They are interviewing George Karl today. And from what I'm hearing, they're going to interview Alvin Gentry again coming up this week for a second interview. Evidently, he impressed very well in his first interview. Then they'll interview Dave Yeager later on to finish the process. I know Mark Spears from Yahoo was saying that he feels that after this week is going to be done.
Yes. Do you feel that Alvin Gentry has any kind of chance to become a Grizzlies coach?
If George Karl and Alvin and Dave Yeager say no.
There you go.
Which I don't think either of them will say no. To be honest.
I heard some people say, "Well, Alvin Gentry, he's a very nice guy. He's a people guy. He, all this kind of." I just, that has nothing to do with coaching.
I'll say this. I think it does to a degree.
To a small degree.
No, I think it's pretty important. I think that's.
It's important to be able to get along with your players. And Lionel Hollins got along with the players.
Because that's important, especially
what people guy are you talking about? He's going to be? Is he going to be? Somebody on the streets everybody can relate to, a quiet guy that says yes sir, no ma'am, yes sir, whatever. I don't know whatever you want him to do, but I just don't see it in this guy.
Yeah,
Well, that's the thing about Gentry too. Is you don't know what he's saying in these interviews that's impressing them so much. It's obvious that these guys want to find that person that they could still instill their trust. They're going to run their organization, their franchise they want to run. So apparently Gentry's doing something right.
All right, is he a winner, though?
Yeah, well, he had success there with Phoenix. Phoenix, had that one season where they were right on the brink of going to the NBA Finals when he took over that team. And, of course, Steve Kerr ruined that franchise. But, the trades he made, getting rid of Marion, and he brought in Shaq, and it just totally changed the whole dynamic of that team. Yeah, Gentry's had semi-success. Now, did he have any more success than Coach Hollins? No. But, has he had as much success as George Karl? No. But, at the same time, he does have NBA head coaching experience, which I think they took into consideration and why they're giving him multiple interviews.
Yeah, this whole thing about Alvin Gentry, I mean, it's a little ridiculous to me. I mean, if he got hired, I think there would be a lot of mad people here in Memphis.
And you're looking at one right here.
Yeah, if you go from Lionel Hollins, who had established himself over the past couple of years as one of the better coaches in the NBA, and then you go from him to a guy like Alvin Gentry. I mean, I just would not understand that at all.
That's taking a big gamble.
Absolutely. I mean, you hire him, there's going to be a ton of people here in Memphis, me included, who would not be happy at all with that.
Well, I guess everybody around the table here is not going to be happy.
Well, hey, guys, can I ask y'all one question? And I've tried to look up articles, and I haven't really seen much coverage. And you guys might know this more, obviously, being there in Memphis. But has Dave Yeager, has anybody gotten a litmus test from him about how he feels about this whole process?
Well, I know. Yeah,
Dave Yeager, he has mentioned before this whole thing came out, before they let Lionel Hollins go.
The exit interviews,
Right. He said himself that, he don't understand why the Grizzlies, he wished they would keep the core together with Lionel as head coach, him as assistant coach, and the players. Everything was going just fine, and he thought that they should have kept that together at least for one more year and see if they were able to obtain NBA final, which they had a good chance to do.
Which is, I found that real interesting. I know this was before everything got as serious as it got, you know what I mean? Like, this was right after the season was over. And, even Lionel Hollins said, right after, the reason why he came out as quickly as he did, saying he wanted to be here because the season had just ended, and things of that nature. So,
and you got to understand, too, and then I'm pretty sure that Yeager, he would accept the job if given to him, and he's an up-and-coming young guy. He, obviously knows what he's doing and knows what he's talking about, or else he wouldn't be assistant coach to, one of the greatest franchises in the NBA.
But has there been any, interviews, with him since Coach Hollins has been fired and these other names like Gentry and Karl have been kind of added to the mix? Because to me, it seems odd that he was kind of the heir apparent. Coach Hollins was let go a while ago now. And, it's still there hasn't been any, immediate ascension to the head coaching position, on his part. So I was wondering if there was any dialogue there in the local media.
No, I don't think we've really heard much from Dave Yeager lately, ever since Lionel's last radio interview here in Memphis. But it's gonna be interesting it's gonna be done by the end of the week, as Mark Spears said from Yahoo, in my opinion. And I still think Dave Yeager's the front runner, in my opinion.
I do too.
And I think all this other stuff that's going on is just something to quieten the whole thing.
But they are taking George Karl seriously. That they are.
Well, I believe they are. I believe they are. But I think if they don't get George Karl in, then
they got a very good option with Dave Yeager.
Yeah.
And looking at it, I know people even saying the possibility of Ed Pickney, which is just no.
That's already happened. That's already
you know what I mean?
When I brought that up last week, y'all were laughing at me like I was kidding. I was like, no, they really said on the report.
No, I was the one that believed you, Peter.
Considered.
I was reading that. They were laughing.
Yeah, I did. I mean, even more so, people they were really impressed with his interview, and I'm like, what is going on? But it's going to be interesting to see. I think,
it will be.
I think one of the reasons why they're so interested in Gentry is because of his offensive prowess, which is, I think, the main thing. I think they want the offense to be better than it has been. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the key things. And, maybe they would try to keep Yeager as an assistant if they did bring Gentry in, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
And speaking of offense and a threat, how about Monte Ellis wanting to come to the Grizzlies?
Well, let's be honest. That's a really nice sentiment from him. But this man opted out of $11 million from the Bucks, and if you look at our salary cap, we have about $6 to $7 million of wiggle room that we have currently, unless we decide not to re-up contracts for John Lore and Austin Day. Now, we set all this money apart to sign Tony Allen.
Correct.
So if we are willing to invest, anywhere from $5 to $8 million to Tony Allen a year, and then we try to bring in someone like Monte Ellis, who will have to play the two-guard position.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he is in his career mentally. I don't know if he's, ready to accept a bench role. I doubt that.
No.
Just
No,
because
not
he
either.
left $11 million on the table.
Yeah.
So for that to happen, I thought it was really cool to read that he's interested to come play for Memphis, but the likelihood that happens probably about zilch.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Now, I'm looking here. There is a report of a lot of notable shooting guard free agents in 2013. I'm going to kind of name a few of them to see what you guys think about interest the Grizzlies should have. Now, you look at Ben Gordon, who has a player option, Gerald Henderson, Marco Bellinelli, and O.J. Mayo. Old Grizzly. Any of those names.
You're laughing, but do you think they'll bring him back to Memphis?
Peter, any of those guys would you be interested in right there?
I don't think OJ. I don't think OJ would be interested in coming back.
Well, I don't want to be here.
OJ, no, of course. I had no problems with OJ Mayo. But I definitely think Bayless is probably a cheaper, more economical option. OJ is a better overall player than Bayless. Don't get me wrong, but I think if we were to sign someone, OJ is going to probably demand $5 to $7 million a year, and you could probably sign Bayless for $4 million and probably be safe, with that and with his role with the team. So, but that's interesting to hear OJ's name in talks of being available because we know what he is. We know what he brings to the team, and there's some familiarity there. So who knows? They might consider that. With this ownership, you never know.
That's definitely true.
One of the guys that you said on there, I like Bellinelli a lot. I know he's a great 3-point shooter, and you can get him at a good price. So I'd take him in a heartbeat over Henderson and Mayo.
Yeah,
Bellinelli only made $1 million last year playing for the Bulls.
That's I think that's a pretty good value right there. And some of the other guys.
He's a steal, man. You could probably sign him to a $3 million deal.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And some other guys here, you got Tony Allen. They have Tony Allen on the list. Jody Meeks with a team option. Ray Allen with a player option. Monte Ellis, J.R. Smith, Kevin Martin, Nick Young, Gary Neal, Alan Anderson from Toronto, who really is a nice player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would be a steal. He's on my blog I'm working on, the under radar guys, is Gary Neal, Alan Anderson. I think those two guys, especially Gary Neal, being lights out in the last 3 games of the NBA Finals. He's pretty much written his check.
Yeah.
He has played big time basketball.
And I really like Alan Anderson, like you were saying. I saw him light up the Grizzlies when we played him with Rudy Gay. I think when Rudy came back in the game, which I remember, that's when we won that game, actually. Because Alan Anderson.
Took the ball out of Alan's hands. You're right, man.
Yes.
Alan was red hot in that game. Rudy came in and shot the ball 4 times in a row and missed all of them.
Exactly. So I do like that guy. Nick Young, I don't know if Grizzly fans would want him on the team, but he is a shooter,
Yeah.
Did we discuss the NBA Finals with Peter yet?
Well, no, which is
What's your prediction tonight, Peter?
Oh, I had Spurs winning in 6, man. I think.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
You're a good man, Peter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. Am I alone in this? I don't know, man.
No. I'm on your side, man.
You know what?
I think it's going to end.
I thought it was possible in 5. I know people thought I was crazy, but I did like 6. And
I want it to go to 7.
It would be cool to go to 7, to be honest, but I think it's going to end tonight. And what you got, Brian?
Yeah, I don't think I think there's maybe a 10% chance the Spurs win tonight. I don't think there's hardly any chance that they're going to win tonight.
And you don't think they got a 10% chance tonight?
Maybe 10%.
Who asked you, Brian?
Wow. All right, man.
I do not.
I
do not think. I think the Heat are going to come out on a mission tonight. They're in their home. They're at their home court.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
with Brian on this.
I fully expect a Game 7.
Then you got to think about San Antonio. These guys, they've been there, they've done that, and they want this thing over with.
Well, I mean, Miami's been there and done that.
Yeah, they've done that, but San Antonio, man, they're ready to go home. They're ready to get it over with, and they know if they allow this team on their home court to win this game tonight, they can forget about it in Game 7 because it's going to be crazy, wild, and hard to defeat Miami if you let them come out tonight and beat you in this game tonight. It's going to be difficult.
Well, I mean, I think the Spurs, I wouldn't, if any team could lose tonight and have to play Miami in a Game 7 at their home court and win, it would be the Spurs. I mean, like you said, they've been there and done that.
Yeah.
I mean, but I wouldn't count out the Spurs if they lose tonight in Game 7. I think it would be a very tight game.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Peter, my friend, it's been a pleasure having you on today.
No problem.
And as always,
if y'all don't mind, man, check me out on pick6sportshow.com and also follow me on Twitter at Peter Lancaster.
All right. Yes, sir. It is done, my friend. Peter Lancaster, WTVM, Birmingham, Alabama. Thanks, man.
No problem, guys. I appreciate the time, man.
All right. Coming up next after the Yahoo Sports Report break, David Smole. He is the announcer for the Mississippi River Kings. And so he'll be joining us after the Yahoo Sports Report break on the other side of the hour. And coming up, our Weatherman, News Channel 3 meteorologist Austin Hunnick will be along with his accurate, dependable weather forecast. So you want to stick around for that. Coming up at 4:30.
Yes, sir. We got Brian Heater coming up at 4:30, who's been here the whole show. But he'll be featured at 4:30, talking about the Tigers. Stuff going on with the Memphis Tigers, recruiting, what's going on in summer practice, Michael Dixon, all those type of things.
Everything we can try to find and pull out the hat on the Tigers. Coming up at 4:30 today. I don't know why I want to say 3:30. Hey, stick around. Coming up next, the Yahoo Sports Report break. Thanks to all of you people that are listening out there from the Boys Club,
Phoenix Club of Memphis,
and all the other people riding around out there, hitting us up on Twitter and calling on other phones and that type of thing. Thank you guys for listening out there. Stick around. We're coming back after the 4 o'clock hour. You're in tune to Talk Back Live with Bob
and John.
7:30 Yahoo Sports.